Welcome to our show. This is Zain Khan. Intelligent design is the view that certain features of the universe and of living things are best explained by an intelligent cause, not an undirected process such as natural selection. Dr. Fazale Rana, an American scientist and also a prominent critic of intelligent design, he will explain to us why he feels that this theory may be troublesome. Welcome to our show, Dr. Fazale Rana. This is Zain Khan. It's a pleasure to have you on our show.
Thank you so much for having me, Zain. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Dr. Fazale Rana, we're all familiar with intelligent design. Most Christians and other people of faith think it's an excellent apologetics tool. But you've got a problem with intelligent design. What is it?
Well, I agree that when we look at the universe, when we look at life within the universe, that we see incredibly powerful evidence for design. That design, I think, reflects the work of a mind, a divine mind. But there's a movement called the intelligent design movement that argues that while intelligent design is detectable in nature, we cannot know the identity of the designer through scientific investigation. Instead, we have to approach the identity of the designer through theological or philosophical studies. And I would actually take exception to that. I think that not only can we detect evidence for design in the universe and within the universe itself when we look at living systems, but we can also get insight into the characteristics and the nature of the designer. That is, I think we can identify the designer or at least narrow in on the designer's identity.
Dr. Fazale Rana, your recent article states that science is already regularly used to determine if intelligence is behind something. What do you mean by that?
Well, it's interesting because for many people in the scientific community, they think intelligent design is outside the bounds of science. And the reason for this is because they adhere to a philosophical system for science known as methodological naturalism, which in a nutshell basically argues that when you explore the universe and phenomena within the universe through scientific methods, that you can only posit natural process mechanistic explanations. And because of that, they would argue intelligent agency cannot be detected through the enterprise of science. Yet ironically, even within that framework, science is actually capable of detecting the work of intelligent agency. For example, SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, is predicated on the ability of astronomers to distinguish between electromagnetic radiation emanating from a natural source versus from an advanced civilization. Also, we have people like Francis Crick and Leslie Orgel, two origin of life researchers, rather prominent, who proposed that maybe life on Earth was actually seeded here by intelligent agencies, by an intelligent civilization that sent life to Earth, and again, seeded life here on Earth. That is, the origin of life on Earth really becomes not the origin of life, but the delivery of life to Earth. But again, this is a model that is a serious consideration within the origin of life community that is predicated on principles of intelligent design. Or if we move to other areas like, let's say, anthropology, archaeologists can tell the difference between a rock fashioned through natural processes and one fashioned through the work of a hominin, like, let's say, Homo erectus or Neanderthals. So the point here is that intelligent agency is very much part of the construct of science. In fact, there's a whole discipline called forensics where people are looking at crime scene investigation that, again, is built around intelligent design detection. If there's a dead body in a room, we can tell through scientific investigation whether that death resulted from natural processes or the activity of a malevolent intelligent agent. So I would argue that intelligent design is very much part of the construct of science, even within a framework of methodological naturalism. So why not extend that and argue that could the design that we see in the universe or in life be explained by the work of a divine intelligence?
Dr. Fazale, you go a step further to say that not only science is already determining when intelligence is behind something, but it can actually give us details about that intelligence. Where do you see that?
Well, let's say we look at a crime scene again as an example. Not only can we tell through scientific investigation whether or not that death resulted from natural processes or, again, the work of some kind of intelligent agency, but we can get information about the nature of that agent that brought about the death of that individual. Is that agent tall? Is the agent short? Is the agent left-handed, right-handed? Is the agent a male or a female? You could maybe get that information from the strength required to bring about the death of that individual. So these are ways in which we're discerning not only the work of intelligent agency, but some characteristics of that intelligent agent. So when we apply that question to, let's say, the design that we see in the universe and within life, I think we can not only detect evidence for design, but we can actually determine some of the characteristics or the features of that intelligent designer.
In your opinion, does identifying the designer make any difference? Isn't it better to just get our foot in the door in proving there is a designer?
Oh, I think that it's very important to not only determine that there is design, but also to go one step further and identify the designer. Because from my perspective, if you recognize design, that in and of itself, of course, is a very significant observation, but it leads to, I think, even a more important question, and that is, who is that designer? And maybe even another important question, how do I relate to that designer? And so if we can use science again to help winnow down the identity of the designer, to get some insider characteristics into the designer, that I think is really a very important question or set of questions that needs to be asked and needs to be answered.
Dr. Fazale Rana, last question. Give us maybe 3 examples of evidence that's not just intelligent design, but specifically points towards a God.
Yes. Well, for example, astronomers have discovered that the universe has a beginning, that matter, energy, space, and time have a beginning. And that means that whatever brought the universe into existence transcends the universe itself, is independent of the universe, is powerful enough to bring the universe into existence. And not only have astronomers, again, discovered a beginning to the universe, they've discovered a beginning to time, which means that that transcendent causative agent is independent of time as well. That's very interesting because it's consistent with the idea that there is a theistic God that, again, transcends the universe, that spoke the universe into existence. We also see design in the universe with respect to the fundamental constants and parameters and characteristics. Well, that design suggests that there is a mind behind the universe, because design is a property that emanates or flows out of a personality. Moreover, it looks as if the universe is designed for a purpose. And again, purpose flows from a personality. So we can conclude that this transcendent cause that's independent of time, that's powerful enough to bring the universe into existence, has personality and has purpose and meaning for the universe itself. We also note that there's an orderliness to the universe, that the universe conforms to laws. That means that this designer is not capricious, but is a designer that has, again, purpose and has constancy and consistency to his or her nature. And then if we move into the life sciences, we note that in biological systems, the designs that we see are universal designs. That is, all living organisms are made up of the same molecules. We all are made up of the same types of cells. And that commonality, I think, suggests that that designer is not a troop of designers, but a single designer. And something that I find to be mind-blowing is that the designs that we see in biochemical systems, but also even in biology, are reminiscent, in fact, eerily similar in some instances to human designs. And in fact, we can use the designs from nature to inspire new technology. meaning that there's this interplay between biological and biochemical designs and human designs. And when you look at, for example, the Old Testament, it speaks about human beings being made in God's image. And so if we are made in such a way that we reflect in part and imperfectly some of the properties of our Creator, that means that when we create, when we invent, when we design, we're going to reflect the Creator's activity. So this begins to suggest that there may be some relationship that we have as human beings to this divine designer. And of course, we live in a world that is characterized by beauty and by elegance. And so this could also be taken as evidence for a designer that is an artist of sorts, that has a playful character or nature to him. And that, again, is a property that I think could be consistent with at least the way in which we view God in the three major theistic religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fazale Rana, for being on our show. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Zain. It's a pleasure to be with you.
This was Dr. Fazale Rana, an American scientist, biochemist, discussing his criticism on intelligent design. Until the next episode, this is Zain Khan. Take care and goodbye.